Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. One of the most frequently asked questions in my cooking class is that how much cooking oil should I use during stir fry? Well, it turned out that this question do not have a simple answer because there are many factors that shape the decision. Before I address some of these factors, maybe the first thing I would do is to answer the question, why do we need oil in stir fry? Frying is probably something that we all understand. Most people think frying tastes good because of the oil. Yes, oil does make the food taste a little bit better, but that is not the main reason. Now, there's two primary ways for you to cook on top of the stove. One is to cook with water. Another way is to cook with oil. Of course, we all know that heat is the primary driving force for cooking. But when you cook with water, the temperature of the heat can only get up to the boiling point of the water. Since the boiling point of water is 212 degrees Fahrenheit, so the heat for cooking the food ingredients could never exceed that temperature. Now, when you cook food with oil, the heat could be much higher in temperature because the temperature of the oil could go all the way up to about 450 degrees. This temperature is frequently known as smoking point. You can imagine this temperature is just like you boiling water, and in this case is that when the oil reaches this temperature, it starts to break apart. So because of this reason, you are limited by this temperature. Now, there's a chemical reaction which is famous in food science. This chemical reaction is known as the Maillard reaction. The Maillard reaction is a set of chemical reactions. It occurs between the temperature from 300 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. At this temperature, the molecules on the surface of food ingredients interact with each other and to generate what is known as flavor molecules that taste great to us. Since when you cook with oil, you can reach that temperature range, and that's why food that are being fried tastes better. Whereas in boiling, the temperature can only get up to the boiling point of the water, which is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the reason why when you boil food, it will not taste as good as when you fry food. And therefore, as you can see, the Maillard reaction is the determining factor that makes frying taste better. Of course, this is also same is true when you bake food, when you roast food, or when you grill, because in all those cooking circumstances, you can reach the Maillard reaction temperature. Well, this is the reason why fried chicken tastes better than boiled chicken. And particularly when you cook the chicken with some breading, the crispiness makes fried chicken even more attractive. So you might ask if we fry food and make it taste better, why we make such a big fuss about it? There's two primary reasons that fried food is not as good. Both of the reasons is associated with the oil that we use in frying. So you probably know already what the problem with oil. The first problem is that oil has a lot of calories. Just imagine 1 tablespoon of cooking oil has 120 calories. This is equivalent to a can of pop soda. Quite often when you stir fry, depending on what you are cooking, you might use up to 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. In this case, you might find yourself adding 240 calories to the dish. So if you are on a diet and you want to control your body weight or lose weight, then cooking with a lot of cooking oil definitely is not a good idea. The second reason is that oil tend to increase blood cholesterol level. Oil are made up of a composition of different type of chemical molecules known as fatty acid. When this fatty acid enters into the body, particularly when it goes to the liver, it will be converted into cholesterol. When blood cholesterol gets too high, it will tend to form what is known as atherosclerotic plaque. Those will accumulate in blood vessels and cause blood blockage. A narrowing of a blood vessel wall will lead to high blood pressure. As you might heard that some cooking oil is better than other, the reason is because of differences in their fatty acid compositions. These differences could make one cooking oil less likely to increase cardiovascular diseases. However, no matter how you look at it, excess consumption of cooking oil is not a good idea. So based on this discussion, it was very clear that we have to use some cooking oil to cook the ingredients. But the point is that how much should we use? So the basic guideline is that you should use enough cooking oil to coat the surface of the food ingredients without any excess. So every time when I start cooking a dish, I will judge how much cooking oil that I will need, then I will add that amount. Hopefully, I did not add too much. However, this could be difficult to judge because different food ingredients take up different amount of cooking oil. Some ingredients, such as the broccoli, particularly the broccoli florets, it absorbs a large quantity of cooking oil. Whereas in the case of green bean, it hardly takes up any cooking oil at all. The problem is that when you don't have enough cooking oil, a food tends to stuck to the bottom of the wok and it will get burned. Because when there are not enough cooking oil on the surface of the wok, the food ingredient will come into direct contact with the metal of the wok. This will cause the food ingredients to get burned. So as you can see, the cooking oil plays two important roles. One is to create a temperature range between 300 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit for the Maillard reaction to take place. And the second function is for the oil to provide a protective layer so that the food ingredients will not be in contact with the surface of the wok and get burned. So one strategy that I often use to avoid adding too much oil to the wok is by starting out to add just enough, and then as I cook, if I see that I will need more oil, then I will add more. This method actually worked really well. It prevents me from adding too much oil right from the beginning. So okay, you might say that if I do not want to use any oil at all, would that be possible? Yes, it turned out to be possible because there's a method that instead using oil-based stir-frying is to use water-based stir-frying. In this method, you add the food ingredients directly to the wok. When the temperature of the wok gets too high, when the food starts to get burned, then you add just a little bit water at a time to modulate the temperature of the wok. As you can see here, the wok is very hot because as soon as the water hits the wok, it starts to form beads and evaporate almost immediately. So the goal is that you add enough water to keep the food from burning, but you don't add too much that will reduce the temperature of the food ingredients. In this case, you keep the temperature between the Mela temperature range. This method actually works surprisingly well. If you look at the ingredients, you can see there are some charring, which is more characteristics of the oil-based stir-frying method. However, some people do not like the taste of this method. They feel that in this way of cooking, the food tastes more like steam than fried. Personally, I find that not the case. I actually really like this method, although I do like the oil-based method as well. So then that comes what is known as the hybrid method. So in this case, you add a very small amount of cooking oil, just enough to coat the surface of the wok. For example, in here, I use only about half tablespoon of cooking oil. As you can see, once I add the food ingredients into the wok, it takes up the oil very rapidly. However, I'm going to fry it in this low level of oil until I exhaust all the oil. But however, it will give the ingredients a oil-based frying flavor. And then I finish the remaining of the frying process, use the water-based method. So as you can see, the goal of achieve the Maillard reaction temperature range is the key for oil-based frying. But at the same time, you notice that by using water-based frying, you can also achieve that temperature range. Ultimately, you probably can have the best of the both worlds by using the hybrid method. So in summary, stir frying is a very flexible technique, and there are many nuances how you actually will do it. To me, this is the benefit and power of home cooking because you allow you to control the cooking process exactly the way how you like it. This will allow you to balance between taste preference and nutritional benefit. As you become more familiar with this different type of stir-frying methods, you probably will come up with other type of combination to suit exactly how you like it. So in summary, the answer to how much oil should you use in your stir-fry is probably a little bit more complicated than what you would like to hear. But knowledge is power. I hope by having this understanding, you will have a much better control of the amount of the oil that you want to use in your stir-fry. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you next time.